Do you want to know how to create a telephone vocal effect that you can use in your songs like I did on this one?
Maybe I wouldn't have done that if you had been around. I thought
this classic telephone sound never gets old and it can give your song a lot of character, so stay with me and I'll show you how to easily create this effect on any DAW to improve your productions, and I'll show you some bonus effects too. Hey, how's it going? I'm Thales, a pop music producer, but the effect I'm going to show you today is a technique used in pretty much every style. And it's so cool because it keeps things interesting. It adds variety for some phrases in your song, or even an entire bridge section. And the effect is even stronger if you use it where it makes sense. That's the prosody in music production. You take the lyrics and you emphasize the meaning. In that song, I wanted that line to sound like it was a guy telling his ex-girl over the phone that certain things wouldn't have happened if she had been around. I felt like it was the right moment to use that effect because if she hasn't been around, the only way to talk to her is probably by calling her, right? So here's the trick. To emulate the sound of an old telephone, we have to make your vocals sound bad. And we do that by filtering some frequencies using an equalizer with very harsh cutoff curves. This is the stock equalizer from Ableton Live, but it works on any equalizer. Just load whatever EQ you have and bend past the higher mid-range at around 1.5 kHz. Just isolate this range. A simple way to do it with any equalizer is to add a low pass filter at around 2K and then add a high pass filter at around 500 Hz. Those are good starting points. To make it really clear, I like to boost 1K.
Welcome to McDonald's, how can I help you?
And there you go. For the basic telephone effect, it's as simple as that. An extreme filter. Then play around with these frequencies to fit the effect better in your mix. I'll bypass this EQ so you can listen to the original vocals real quick.
maybe I wouldn't have done that if you had been around. I thought
Now with the equalizer on,
maybe I wouldn't have done that if you had been around. I thought
and the way I usually do it is I set up a different track just for the bits of vocals that will have this effect. That's how I like to organize my vocals. But you can also just use the same track and automate this equalizer to turn on whenever you want the effect. You can use this effect for a line or two in your song like I did, taking advantage of this sense of call and response that the telephone vocals create, especially if you want that line to sound like it's coming from a different character than the singer, even if it's the same singer's voice. And in that case, you could reinforce that by panning differently, so it comes from the side instead of the center, since it's a different subject. It's also used a lot in delay throws as an echo on phrases you want to emphasize because it helps them become more noticeable in the mix, or it can even be used in a whole bridge section to create contrast. Now for the next couple minutes, I'll show you some extra effects that will take your vocal productions to the next level and you have even more variety in your music, especially the Megaphone effect and the lo-fi radio effect. But first, I want to ask you to hit the like button if you're enjoying this video and write in the comments below what else you'd like to learn. And maybe that's going to be in my next video. Sound good? Alright, so let's turn this telephone effect into a megaphone effect like you're in a protest.
This is a protest against the increase in VST plugin prices.
It doesn't take a lot of work. The telephone sound is totally dry with no reverb, no reflections, but for this one, just letting some more mid frequencies pass and adding a bit of distortion and a reverb or a slapback delay does the trick. It could be any reverb or delay, so I'll just use the Ableton Live's echo for simplicity because it let us do a bit of both, delay and reverb. I'll configure it with a short time like 60 to 100 milliseconds. Here we go.
maybe I wouldn't have done that if you had been around. I thought
Sounds cool, right? A friend of mine once used this effect in a song to create the feeling of going to the circus. Now, for the classic lo-fi radio effect, or walkie-talkie effect, or police radio sound,
All units, suspect of cracking VST plugins just left the protest. Appears to be headed to McDonald's.
all we have to do is open up the high-mid frequencies a little more at 6 or 7K and add more distortion. just make the vocals sound very compressed and distorted. I actually loaded a limiter, which is like an extreme compressor followed by the saturator, even though it could be done with any distortion or overdrive effect. I like to compress first so that the audio is more even when it hits the distortion effect, and by doing that I make sure that I won't just distort the loud peaks and keep the quiet parts clean. If you want your vocals to be more evenly distorted, it's always good to compress first. Let's hear what it sounds like.
Maybe I wouldn't have done that if you had been around. I thought
And if that's too distorted for your taste, you can use the mix knob to decrease the amount of distorted sound. Maybe 10% distorted, 90% unaffected sound. You can also use a free plugin like Izotope Vinyl. It's a really fun plugin that you can download from the website and play around with the controls. I'll make sure to leave the link for you in the description below. So now you know how to create a telephone effect, a megaphone effect, a lo-fi radio effect, and you got a free VST plugin. That's a lot of stuff for you to get creative today, right? How about you subscribe to the channel and turn the notifications on if you learned anything. If you don't do that now, you're gonna miss the next ones. You can't miss the next ones. By the way, there's another video I think you'd like to watch. It's about creating a tape stop effect. Would you be interested? I'm going to make it pop on your screen in a second. Sound good? Thanks for hanging out. I'm Thales and we'll talk soon.